Uh, Not too good light in the bedroom. Kind of dark in here. That's why it's a little grainy. I guess the brighter the light, the better. There's Craig. How you doing, buddy? I hope Tim comes on so I could bash Georgia. Hey, Jess, what's going on? Now, just a couple of quick stories about today's customers, some funny stuff. Busy weekend. Now that grass season is here, I mean, I'm just inundated with customers. I don't even have time to do my own stuff, especially that song. I'm dying here because we had free off with Good Friday, and I spent all day yesterday fixing stuff. Today it was rainy, it was garbage out, but I spent all day chasing parts and things like that. The weather was horrendous this morning. It was like torrential rain, but you got to do what you got to do. Matt, what are you doing? Go eat the rest of your penny vodka. There's Tim. Tim, Georgia's on my restricted states list. That's it. I may still eat peaches, but that's it. And I still may listen to Greg Allman, but that's it. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, one of my neighbors actually texted me. I had never met the guy before, and he said he had a Skag, and he wondered if I could replace a belt for him. And I mean, okay, we'll replace a belt. So the guy brings it over, and what happened was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Skag mowers, but there's a walk behind 48-inch. You got a little belt on the deck. You got a huge belt on the deck that goes like a primary belt that goes to the engine, and then that feeds a secondary belt on the deck. Well, that belt roached itself, and in doing so, whipped off the drive belt on the transmission, took out both belts, but wrapped them around the pulley. And when I was taking it off, I don't know if you guys are familiar with on V-belts, they're made with cords or belts, if you will, okay? And it almost looks like string. If you've seen V-belts tear apart, sometimes it looks like someone wound string inside these belts. I literally took off 28 feet of string that was wound on this pulley. Now, those that know small engines out there and pulleys and shivs know that if you're in a pinch and a belt that you have is too long, you can take string and wind it inside a shiv or a pulley to make the effective ID of the pulley or shiv bigger. So the belt is a little bit tighter. It's a trick we've used for years. You just have to make sure that the belt doesn't fall outside of the confines of the pulley or the shiv. And we in the machine tool industry we call them shivs. You guys call them pulleys, V pulleys, shivs, same thing. But anyway, I thought at first it was someone wrapped some string around these pulleys to. Hi James, how are you? Hello James family, all 22 of you. How you doing? I thought someone wrapped this string around the pulley to use a different belt, but it was just the belt itself just started unwinding. The engine was at 3,600 RPM. When it let go, it just wound up and ripped the belt to shreds. But it took me like 25 minutes just to cut everything out and get the things out. Anyhow, he didn't realize what he did. He thought he just blew the drive pulley because the thing wasn't moving. No, by roaching out the belt for the deck, he had to, he didn't know that he needed that belt. So now he's got a stranded mower. It'll move, but he can't cut with it. So, and of course it was 4:00 this afternoon. So the dealers are closed. They're only open till noon. So he's got to wait till Monday. So he's stranded, but that's okay. Another customer. What else today? Customer called me up. I had fixed a tractor for him, guy from work. And he said that chipmunks got into his tractor and were playing havoc with it. So I drive up there and I put my jump box on and it started right up for me. So I don't know what the chipmunks were playing with, but the deck belt was gone. And I'm like, why is the deck belt? They're blaming the chipmunks. He's saying they ate the deck belt. There was literally no deck belt. It was literally gone. It's a brand new belt I put on back in October, literally gone. He said that the chipmunks ate it. So I don't know. At first I've heard of that. I've heard of mice and chipmunks and everything making nests, but I've never heard of them actually physically eating it. The belt's interesting. Yeah, I use Gates Green, because Gates Green have a little bit of the cloth, like Kevlar type coating on the outside, similar to Tractor Supply with their blue belts. In a pinch, Gates work okay, but Gates are only available in half-inch increments. So a lot of these, especially MTD, is known for a 79.272 or 295 or whatever decimal point belt. And on a lot of their equipment, it makes a difference. It won't be tight enough or it'll be too loose. So I always recommend OEM belts if possible, And especially on equipment like Skags, there's not a lot of room for error on those things, the way their pulleys are designed. So you really have to use the factory setups. If you have room in your idlers and you can use a belt that's an inch larger, yeah, fine. But don't go tighter, because when you go tighter, then safeties won't work, things won't shut off. So I always recommend go with the OEMs if possible. Napa Blue. It's funny. There's not a lot of Napas around here. There's one probably 10 miles from here. I know a good friend of mine is a police mechanic, and he uses a lot of the Napa stuff. But I saw their small engine catalog years ago. They actually sell all Kohler and Briggs. They do sell all that stuff with their part numbers. It's just that they usually mark up the suggested list price on there. So you got to watch sometimes. Oh yeah, Napa belt book. I have the Gates catalogs. I actually keep the Gates books with the crosshair, because remember, I used to design machine tools years ago. So we used to design pulleys and shivs and belts, all those systems, and 6V, 8V, 4V, all the different nomenclature. We used to know that stuff like the back of our hands. In fact, people used to tell us belt numbers. I told you what it is based on the number you gave me, because we used to do that much. But yeah, we did a lot of that stuff years ago. What else is going on? Tillers, a lot of tillers lately, especially the smaller ones, like the Mantis type tillers, but they're bringing in like little MTD. Actually, a Troy-Bilt Grainger I use a lot, and Grainger actually has a new subsidiary now. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I'll think of it. It's a newer subsidiary of Grainger that acts like a McMaster car, even with even more deals on things. But Grainger, use them for your Grainger, McMaster car, MSC, Manhattan Supply, all those guys. We use them all. But the tillers, it's funny because a guy last year brought me an original Troy-Bilt back when it was Garden Way, when Garden Way used to own Troy-Bilt before Troy-Bilt got sold to MTD. And this was an old Troy-Bilt, but it looks like a Mantis, small front end on it and every little two-stroke thing. That one, the pull starter, it was a Tecumseh two-stroke engine. The pull starter was acting up, so the guy lent it to his neighbor. The neighbor said the pull starter was acting up and proceeded to take it all apart. And he gave it to me in a shopping bag full of parts. I'm hoping all the parts are there. I'll figure it out tomorrow when I work on it. But I tell customers, please bring it to me all in one piece. Don't try and take it apart, because I'd like to know what happened to it. Let me see. Chimixing my ate your camper. What about the camper? Just like the upholstery and stuff? Because I know when they get in, like squirrels, they have a field day on interiors. The other one is actually, what is that one? That one is, I got a Troy-Bilt. Oh, Ryobi. Which some of the Ryobi two-stroke stuff, sometimes I say no, but this is a guy that works with me. He's friends with my wife. He brought it over. What did he do? He blew an exhaust gasket between the muffler and the engine block, and it started clanking, because as he blew the gasket, he had that clearance in there now, and the thing was going ding, 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 ding. It drove him crazy. So his neighbor wanted to be a nice guy. I love it. They always blame the neighbor. The neighbor borrowed it, heard the clanking, took a wrench and proceeded to tighten the screw in the muffler and broke it off. And of course, it's funny. I know the Ryobi. I mean, the only thing I like about Ryobi now, I'll be honest with you, the Ryobi, I think it's a BP42, their backpack, where the motor's mounted horizontally. The fan's actually horizontal on your back. I tell you, for the price of it, it's like $270. It blows phenomenal. I had to replace a short block on one last year. Short block was only like $80. I mean, it was really nice. And I tell you, for what it was, it worked great. I turned the guy onto canned fuel. He loves it. Anyhow, getting back to the Ryobi tiller, the screws in the block weren't metric. They were actually 1224. And 1224 is a standard screw size. Not used a lot. 1032 is used more. Than they go from 1032 to a quarter, but 1232 is in between. It's like 200. I think it's 212 thousandths OD. Quarters 250 and 10 is 190. But it was weird because there was enough in there for me to drill it out and tapped it for quarter 28. The problem is the muffler on those things. Some mufflers have bushings inside of them, so you don't collapse the muffler itself when you're tightening it. The bushings are like standoffs. They hold the muffler together. Problem is, these are hardened bushings, and they're basically spot welded inside the muffler. So if you go to try and drill a clearance hole in there, they start spinning. Now you're screwed. What are you going to do? So I think I'll end up getting by with what I did, and hopefully it'll work out. I'll find out tomorrow. A Steel 90R. Oh, those are nice. Yeah. Now, does that have the Easy Start on it? I know Steve's Engine Saloon, he just did a video on the Easy Start, and I think he had one of those there where you can't drop start them. You drop start them, you blow the spring up. Wow, that's cheap. 65, that's cheap. I think the Easy Start, though, if I'm not mistaken, Matt, you could probably answer, has the C in the part number. When you see something with a C, that means Easy Start. I think that's the way it is with their chainsaws, too. Yeah, it was a good deal. But anyway, Steve showed on his video where a guy came in 3 times. I guess he's a steel dealer. Came in 3 times saying the starter was broke, and the Easy Start secondary spring, if you drop start it, you just blow up that secondary spring. The 3rd time he did it, he said, "Come on, show me what you're doing." And he showed it to him, and he showed him how he was dropping it. And actually, the first time this customer started, he broke the spring. So Steve's like, "Hold on." He goes, "I've done it under warranty 3 times. The rest is on you." So he showed him what it was. Yeah, SH86C. The C, I believe, is the Easy Start, where you just pull it, I think, about a foot, and it goes, and it winds up and then pulls again. They're nice. I've got a bunch of customers that are older people that could barely pull anything, and a lot of times I've even gone over to their houses to start them for them. If they need to cut a few branches and they don't want to do it, I'll help them out. So, it's being value added. I know, Maddie, it's not a husky. It's a creamsicle, so you probably don't know. But anyway, I'm going to try and get to the get together at Cutting Edge on the 4th, because luckily, fortunately for me, both the Fridays before those 2 events, both the Connecticut get together and the one in upstate New York, I have those Fridays off. So like Maddie said, I'll probably make an early trip to both and get up there for sunrise, just so I could take advantage of the time in the daylight. Hopefully the weather will hold out. What else? The SH86, is that like the BG? I think the SH is the one, though. Yeah, it's the vac thing. So the bottom comes off and you could stick the hose up there and use it as a vacuum. I think that's the only difference. The housing opens up and you can use it as a vacuum. But it's weird how steel is really, it's almost like they're into the European design now. If you look at some of the way their cases have changed over the years, they had there's weed sticks and all those had that same shape for probably 10 or 12 years. Now all of a sudden they look real futuristic, almost like spaceships, the way the plastics are. A lot of the other dealers haven't gotten that high tech yet with European influence design. Well, because they're Japanese or Swedish or whatever. Swedish, I could figure. Husqvarna, they'll probably come out with a new case design soon. If you look at their Inceptions from the 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 and 5 series, they've gotten kind of high tech now with their charcoal gray, silver looking parts. It almost looks like a little robotic thing on the sides of their saws now on the brake side. Let's see what else we got here going. Blower kicks, but I haven't used the vac. You got to watch some on that vac though, because it's if I'm not mistaken, Jess, it's a plastic fan. And if you're sucking up twigs and stuff, it'll do real havoc with the fan. Usually there's macerator blades on the inside that attach with the nut and they swing. And these macerator blades are supposed to chip up like twigs and stuff. But I'd watch it though, especially pick up the twigs. Don't tempt it, because you get one of those plastic fan blades gets chipped or something, the balance will be all off and you won't enjoy it. Trust me, I know. I had a blower fan years ago and I sucked up a twig. One of the fan blades chipped, like half a blade chipped off, and that thing shook like crazy. But like I said, there were macerator blades, just like looks like the blades in a garbage disposal in your kitchen. They're right in the center of that plastic fan, and they actually are supposed to chop up all the really tough stuff before it gets blown into the bag or whatever. BR600. I was looking at the new Echo, the what the heck's it called? An 10, I think it is, 8010 or something like that. It's supposed to be one of the most powerful. I got a friend of mine who's always into the high tech stuff. When Maruyama came out a couple of years ago, he bought one of those because they were the most powerful. Problem was they're heavy. They're very, very heavy. And he ended up this year buying a Red Max and he loves it. I mean, Red Max is Husky. They own Red Max. So, you look at the BTS 580 versus the Red Max, they're the same. Just some colors are different, the covers are a little different, but basically they're the same blower. Pretty soon, like I said, you're only going to have 4 or 5 manufacturers making everything or owning everything. So who knows? Yeah, the Red Max is good. It's a good blower. I like the Red Max. The only problem I have with Red Max though, on a lot of the older ones, I don't know if they were the 7000s and some of the 8050s or 8500s, the pistons, you'd blow holes in the piston. People would complain that you couldn't start them. It was because there were pinholes in the piston due to detonation, and you would just lose compression. And the pistons were normally shaped with a dome. They would collapse. They would actually be dished when you see them. So you pull them apart, boom. And they're cheap. I mean, the piston, I think, was $12. Ring was like $3 or $4, bearing and so forth. So, $25, you could rebuild them. And I did a bunch of those a couple of years ago. But that's one thing to look for. If you ever see a Red Max for sale, doesn't want to start easy, and the guy wants to get rid of it for next to nothing, you can fix it for $30. So pretty easy fix. It's funny because the Red Max parts came in Husqvarna boxes with the Husqvarna part number. So that's how I knew they had bought them. APB 400E Echo. Okay. I like Echo. Echo, out of all the stuff I own, Echo starts easiest. Echo usually first pull. Steel, like a bet, third pull every time. I don't care what steel equipment I have. I don't care if I choke it, prime it, whatever. 3 pulls on the steel. Echo, for some reason, you put the choke on, 1 pull, boom, starts. So, and it starts and you hit the choke and it stays running. Where Echo, it'll shut off. You got to put it to the middle position, all that. So, I do like Echo. Echo is a decent product. Their little saw that they have now, that limbing saw, love that thing. I mean, I've used one. A friend of mine bought one, and I absolutely love it. It thing weighs. People think it's a toy because it weighs nothing. It's like not even 3 pounds or something. It's ridiculously lightweight. I just absolutely love it. Let's see. What else? Echo. PB. Yeah, 250. PB 250. What do you want? PB 250. That's Home Depot Lowe's territory. Just like, it was funny. You look at the old ones they used to sell at Home Depot and Lowe's. They had an H or an L after the part number. They were actually made for Home Depot and Lowe's. You'd have a PB 350H and a PB 350L. One's Lowe's, one's Home Depot. So that's, when people call me up and say, "Oh, can you fix my blower? What is it?" Echo. Which one? And when they tell me, sometimes I'd be like, "Not really." And now with the advent of Chinese carburetors, everyone's buying the Chinese carbs and putting them on when they go bad. But I'll be honest with you guys, just my word of advice: the material that the Chinese use in their carburetors is junk. You don't know what it is. You don't know what's in it. When you buy a factory, either Walbro, Zama, or Tillotson carburetor, you're getting something that's manufactured with real either aluminum or zinc or whatever the material is that won't oxidize being exposed to alcohol after 1 season. Most of my customers will leave the fuel in the winter. All of a sudden, the next year, they try and start it, it won't start. I take the carb apart, it's all oxidized inside. And that goes for any kind of carburetor, for whether it be for a lawnmower, a tractor, whatever. The Chinese junk, look, $8, $10, $12, it gets you out of trouble, great. But don't expect it to last for 20 years. Just don't, because, like I said, the material they're using, forget it. Keep in mind, China bought all of our steel years ago when there was a glutton on steel and there was a rush on it. It's still sitting out in their harbors out there in Asia because they don't know what to do with it. Okay, they bought it all. Now they don't know what to do with it. But when you buy material from over there, you don't know what you're getting. They don't have the standards like we have here with ASTM and AISI and SAE. Our materials are tested and they're certified and you know what you're getting. Over there, when it comes from over there, you could get radioactive stuff in it. Who knows? I mean, seriously, you don't know what you're getting from over there. What's in their material? You just don't know. They don't have the safety standards and the metallurgical, expertise like we have. They don't have to have it. The government doesn't mandate it. So, they can make whatever they want. Anywho, what else is going on? Saws. That 136 I was working on is just about ready to go back together. Like I said, customers have been calling me for their lawnmowers because grass is starting to grow. So I'll be honest, the past 2-3 weeks, it's just inundated with customers trying to fix their saws, their tractors, their leaf blowers, their weed whackers, their trimmers, all that stuff. So the good thing is I'll have money in my pocket to get, my project saw going to 346 for the get together. It's just that the time is just bad. In fact, while we were talking in Maddie's stream, I probably got 3 or 4 texts of people wanting service, whether it be during the week or drop something off. I mean, that's what they do. I've customers actually called me today asking if I was working tomorrow on Easter Sunday, and I'll be honest, Easter Sunday for me anyway doesn't really start until around noontime or so. So I'll be out there, probably from 7 in the morning till noon fixing stuff. Just the way I am. I do it every Saturday and Sunday. It's just what I do. Hey, it's what I do. I enjoy it. I like fixing stuff. What else? I talked on my stream the other day about Ariens push mowers. I love the Ariens push mowers that have the disc drive that's from their snow blowers, the rubber disc drive. It's just a phenomenal system. And a customer brought one to me today, and it's just, I love them. They're just great. They have caster wheels on the front. They got the rubber disc drive. One hand, you go up a steep hill. They work beautifully. They're expensive new. They're almost $1,000, but you can find one 5-6 years old for $300-400. I mean, I think it's worth it. What do we got here? Phone call suck when trying to watch live. No, actually, people were texting me. They know better, on a Saturday night, Easter Eve, if you will, 9 o'clock. Yeah, they'll text me though. They'll know. They know I'll answer them probably later on tonight or in the morning. Some email me. Most of them text me. I get some cold calls. Like I said, I don't advertise. I never do. I never have. It's just people, friends of friends of friends. They will call someone and say, "Hey, I know Kenny. He does this. Cool. He fixed that." Especially older equipment, because not many people. Yeah, Snapper. Absolutely. Snapper has them too. But Snapper, the way theirs works, there's a lever on the left that you pull, and it's got like a ratcheting, almost like a sector gear where you click it in for the different speeds, and then you engage the bale, and it goes. Yeah, similar system, Snapper. But then again, a Snapper with the disc drive like that, fully loaded with a Cowie motor, $1,200 for a push mower. I mean, it's expensive. They're great, but yeah, pass over. That's good. I like that. I'll pass over some customers tomorrow. There you go. Actually, one of my good customers, he is Jewish, and I wanted to go over there actually yesterday, and he said, no, I guess there's what do they call it, a Seder meal or something on that. I'm Christian myself, but he was saying, nope, Fridays are solemn, Seder, we got to do it. So couldn't go over there yesterday, so now we're planning on next week sometime. He's got a beautiful John Deere X300, so I'm looking forward to working on that. Yeah, old stuff, Boneyard, love old stuff. I specialize in old stuff, especially Kohler K series. I probably have 12 or 14 engines downstairs. Some are ready to rebuild, some are just carcasses, carburetors, parts, valves, everything. I could rebuild probably 15 of them right now with just the parts I have in house. Because I was into International Harvester Cub Cadets ever since 2000. So coming on almost 20 years now. That's what got me started. I started on International Harvester Cub Cadets with Kohler K series engines. Rebuilt one, liked it, sold the engine out of it because I needed the engine, built another engine, and the rest is history. My neighbors used to see me in my driveway fixing things, and they'd stop. Hey, you fix stuff? I was like, yeah, why? Well, can you fix my mower? Yeah. So they'd bring it by and figure it out. And that was back when internet wasn't as hot, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, as it is today. I mean, today you want to fix something, go on YouTube like we do now, and there you go. But a lot of people, hey, better to pay a guy $20-30 and have something quick and easy fixed, You're ironic, pull an S10 pickup truck. That's what I have. I actually have a 2000 S10 pickup and a 5x8 landscape trailer. And that's what I use. It's only a 4-cylinder. I use it. I tow lawn and garden tractors and equipment and snow blowers and everything else. And knock wood, it served me well. 161,000 miles I think I have on it now. What have I done to it? A couple of alternators, radiators, one transmission. That was it. I mean, thing doesn't owe me anything, no payments, and gets 18 miles to the gallon. Hey, no big deal. Let's see. What else we got here, guys? It's funny now that I'm into chainsaws after the bug has bitten me. I used to hate working on two strokes. Used to hate it because they're filthy, they're nasty, they're smelly, they're oily, and one thing that changed my mind years ago was I saw a video from Chainsaw Guy and 93. Yeah, but the 300,000, was that on the four cylinder or the V6? Because I know most of them have the V6s. I actually have the four cylinder in mine. But I don't have any problem with it. Like I said, 161,000 on mine, so it's probably gonna last hopefully another 5 or 6 or even 10 years. Yeah, the V6. Most have the V6. Like I say, when I tell people I have the four, they're like, "Whoa, the four cylinder." It's the Pontiac Iron Duke four cylinder that GM made back in the 90s, 80s, and 90s. You can't kill it. It's a great engine. Yeah, mine's a 2.2, Iron Duke. So it's cast iron head and block, and can't kill it. But getting back to talking about two strokes, I saw a video from Chainsaw Guy years ago, and like I said, I wasn't really doing a lot of two-stroke work, but he said to me one time, he said, the first thing you do whenever you check out a two-stroke, and you guys know this, I say it all the time, pull the muffler, look and see what it's doing. And 90% of the time, when people bring me two strokes that won't start, they've straight gassed them, or there's carbon that caused the rings to stick, the cylinder scored, and you just don't have compression. So, like anything, you're going to buy anything two-stroke, pull the muffler, look at the cylinders, see what's going on. When I was broke. Are we always broke, though, Jesse? Living in Milwaukee, pick up old equipment. It's funny because there's a local guy in town here who works for the town, and he fixes small engines too. And he's got a perfect location. His house is on Main Street in our town, which everyone drives by. It's the main road. And he doesn't put a sign up, but he opens up his double bay garage door, and all you see is power equipment, mowers and blowers and this and that. So people, and they see him out there in his coveralls working on stuff. So they just pull in his driveway, So for me, I'm not way off the beaten path, but I'm probably two or three or four streets off the beaten path. So, you have to know where I am to get to me. You're not going to be driving by. My street isn't something that's passed through for everyday people. It's something where you have to take 2 or 3 streets to get to. So where we know our neighbors. So if we see a strange vehicle, it's sort of our own security system here. We know who's strange and who belongs here. But a lot cleaner than a diesel. Yeah, that's true. But I tell you though, my buddy's got a few Cummins, 12 valve, 24 valves, the old ones. The torque of a diesel, especially when you're pulling something heavy, you can't beat it. But now with that urea stuff, forget it. I mean, you've got I forget what they call it, afterburn or something, where it actually has to go through a cycle to re-burn the exhaust. The things are getting 12 miles to the gallon. The old 12 and 24 valve diesels got 25, 28 miles to the gallon. It smells like urine. It looks like urine. And you have to buy it and put it into your tank when the light comes on. And it's not cheap. Even if you get a Tractor Supply, this formula is not cheap. So I don't know. The newer diesels, I'm not a big fan. Give me an old Cummins 24 valve or an old Duramax or something like that. I'll go like that. It really is, Craig. I mean, yeah, you dealt with it. It's absolutely. That's why the old ones. I tell you, my buddy just sold an original first gen Cummins. It was a 1990. What was it? 93, I think it was, which was the last year of that style, with 60 miles. But he took it off the frame, poor 15 frame, did the cam button, the dowel, whatever dowel, all the stuff that had to be done, put a new head on it and everything, bigger turbo. Well, probably had a lot more into it, but it was just a beautiful truck. We really loved it. And the guys were clamming to buy this thing because you can't find the first generations. The only thing about it though, and these old diesels, you're going to leave for work at 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, you're going to wake your neighbors up because those things are clack, 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 clack. Yeah, the killer dial. Yep, absolutely. But I tell you, the amount of power, I never forget. You get on the side of one of them. In fact, he converted it from automatic to a 5-speed, and a lot of work, but he got it done. The new process gear, the box and all that stuff. It was a lot of work, but I tell you, a phenomenal mechanic, good friend of mine. But people were clamoring for these first gens, especially when it had no rust or rot on it. It was in mint shape. I'm buffering. Yeah, the video looks a little grainy here too because it's a little dark. I've got this new Chromebook. Let me see what this says for signal. Weak signal. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. My modem and my router are actually 55 feet away in the porch, and I'm on the other side in the bedroom. So sorry if it says we also, who knows? All right. I'm going to end it. Tomorrow's another day. So hopefully I can start doing some videos showing you me working instead of just talking, even though we love talking. But that'll be it for me. Have a great holiday, guys. James, everyone, Craig, Tim, everybody, just enjoy. Matt, if you're still on. Jess, everybody else, have a great holiday. Be safe, and we'll see.